nice to meet you. How are you?
Fantastic, Rebecca Bradshaw. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for donating your book to the Lockdown Library. The Lockdown Library was just an initiative to give people access to some amazing books while they've got some free time to do some reading, because I'm a passionate reader. And of course, I get to read them all as well, which is an added bonus. So thank you very much. You've donated your book, Connect Better Faster, which we'll talk about. But first, I want people to get to know you. So you are an expert working with people having hard conversations, or even the hardest conversations. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I connect people and culture to strategy. And in doing that, it's really about saying, well, for as long as your strategies, until your people are actually putting into action your strategy, it's just a wish list on the wall. And often to do that, you need to be having the conversations that count. And that can happen in a number of ways. And it doesn't have to be as hard as it seems. And I work with people individually and in groups, and in all number of ways.
What stops the people having those conversations about strategy? Why is it often just a document that sits there?
Well, often it's actually about relevance. It's not mine. How does it matter to me? And that's what great people and culture leaders do. They actually connect people to the strategy. So you'll have people working in a team and they'll say, well, my team is doing a great job at what my team does. And I'm about my career, but what's the strategy got to do with me? What are the values got to do with me? There's the wall culture, there's what's on the wall, and there's actually what's happening on the floor. And until you actually make it relevant and embed it at every single point that you're literally one team across the organisation, then it's not actually going to happen that your values are going to come over the counter. And you do that actually one conversation at a time. And that's what great people and culture leaders do.
So you would work with people and culture?
Yes, I would. Would you like me to check my internet connection? Because I can see I've just dropped out there. What's happened?
We can still hear you. So
you can still hear me? That's okay?
Yeah.
Keep going? Okay,
no problem.
Talking.
So your book,
Lovely.
Connect Better Faster. Talk to us about what motivated you to write that book.
A number of things motivated me to write that book. But if you're telling someone to do something and they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. So, I mean, it's kind of as simple as that. And then also from a deeper place, which is to say, if you can't connect with people, it's the most isolating place in the world. So, and if there's anything that COVID has shown us, and this point in time, it's not, people aren't running around going, quick, we need to execute the organisational strategy. Yes, business sustainability is important, and ultimately that's the question, that's one big question that's keeping people up at night. But the question that people are asking is, how do we stay connected as humans?
Yeah. And so who should read your book? Who is it for?
So the thing I actually tell people is, please don't read my book. Please use my book. This book is 1,001 conversation starters, and it is broken into 3 levels. So public, personal, and push-pull. And when you use the questions and you ask the questions, you will come away more deeply connected to people in a meaningful way. You break down the barriers. So the people who should be using the book is anyone who wants to see the next person more clearly. So any human being. On a more practical sense, if you the more people you're getting together And the more it matters that they have a real conversation, the more you need to use the book. So if you're having a strategy session and you actually need the real conversations, then you should be using the book. Particularly, I find technical people who may not be very comfortable having genuine conversations. This is a really structured process for having conversations. And I've seen entire rooms of engineers come alive, technical, procedural, really enjoying having a chat with their own pace using the framework in this book. And then if you're a people person and you really like fun ways and fresh ways to have a chat, use the book is what I would say.
Fantastic. And I think that's what people need right now, isn't it? Something practical to navigate the conversations that we're having to have right now, which are probably very different from the questions that we thought we would be the conversations we thought we'd be having.
It's true. And what I'm also finding is people are talked out without actually having real conversations. So no one wants another Zoom meeting, and yet when I'm running sessions with people, they're saying, oh my goodness, that was so refreshing. That was so energizing. So there's a difference between sitting and chitter chatter or talking for the sake of it or draining and actually having real conversations. And we're still not doing that, which is really interesting.
Have you found with your clients and the people that you're working with that the Zoom conversations have taken some of that chatter away, that those meetings aren't going for as long because it's a bit more focused over Zoom, or the opposite?
So it can go either way depending on the type of meeting. Some meetings are a lot more focused, and then others are a lot more rambling while people are over talking each other and they're talking about their pets or their dogs, and that's really nice up to a point, and then it loses value because you're not actually getting to the next level of the conversation. And some people will find that frustrating. So you actually need to know how to navigate to the next level of conversation too. So there's actually a really interesting dynamic that's going on at the moment.
Fantastic. And how do you work with people? If people want to work with you, if they've got a strategy or some values in their organization that they just know are not communicated well and people aren't invested, how do they work with you?
I'm finding that 1 hour offsites are working really effectively. So coming with a problem in bite-sized chunks and picking the right number of people, picking apart a problem and smashing out a few energizing sessions with me, defining the problem, coming away energized, and working in that way really is quite inspiring in this environment, which is what we really need.
Yeah, I agree. And so how can people access you? Where do they contact you, Justine?
Hello at JustineFigo.com.
Perfect. That could not be easier and friendlier. That's brilliant. And I think what you do right now is so important because potentially lots of people's strategy pre-COVID is actually changing right now. So they could actually be looking at the new strategy post-COVID.
They are. And what I'm finding is they're looking at a lot of technical details, and everyone is very caught up in the skills without the alignment behind it. And what I'm seeing is a lot of busy work without work that's necessarily going to stick, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, thank you so much, Justine. It was so lovely to meet you and talk to you today. And I hope people get in touch with you because I think this is what people need right now, is that real practical book that they can use to have some good conversations and really link strategy and value to what they do every day. Because for me, that's a passion of mine. There's nothing I dislike more than seeing a list of values on a wall, knowing that that is not the culture of the organization. So I hope lots of people download the book from the library.
Oh, thank you so much, Rebecca. You have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.